I cheated on my husband. And not just once. It happened 3 times in a single night. With 3 different men. It was insane. It all started with news I had been waiting months to hear. I got promoted. Months of non-stop work, responsibilities nobody else wanted, endless schedules, and weekends spent in front of my computer. When they finally confirmed it, I felt incredibly happy. I got home excited. My husband was sitting on the couch watching TV. I told him the news, he congratulated me, gave me a quick kiss, and turned back to the screen. He wasn't cruel or cold, it was worse, it was normal. Too normal. Like I had just told him they changed the coffee brand at the office. My friends insisted we celebrate. Just one night, they said. I hesitated, more out of habit than actual doubt. I told my husband I'd be home early. He replied, "Sure, have fun," without even asking where we were going. At the time, it didn't bother me. I got dressed up, did my makeup, sprayed on perfume. Not to impress anyone, but because I liked feeling beautiful. Before leaving, I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, if my husband didn't want to celebrate with me, I would celebrate on my own. The first bar was packed. Loud music, flashing lights everywhere, strangers all around me. And they didn't know me either. That felt new. Nobody saw me as someone's wife, the responsible woman of the house, or the dependable one. I was just another woman celebrating. We made one toast. Then another. Then I stopped counting. We were having so much fun. I talked about my promotion like it was some epic adventure, and my friends played along. At some point, I started noticing looks from men. Not aggressive or uncomfortable, just curious. And something inside me reacted. It wasn't direct flirting. It was the realization that I could still attract attention from other men. I danced. Much more than I expected to. Without thinking about how I looked, only about how I felt. Happy and free. Free for one night. At some point we changed places. Or maybe it was the same place and my perception just wasn't clear anymore. I remember long hallways, dark carpets, and the sudden silence away from the music. I remember laughing while walking, not really knowing where I was going. I walked into a room with a man whose name I don't even remember. The strange thing is, I didn't care. I just wanted to have fun and celebrate. When I walked back into the hallway, instead of panic, I felt adrenaline. I looked at myself in a mirror in the corridor and started laughing. Not nervously. Almost like I was in on the joke. Like I couldn't believe what I was doing, and yet I still didn't want to stop. I went back to the music, the people, the lights. My friends didn't ask questions. They just looked at me and understood. That silent look between women that doesn't need words. That should have been the end of it. Any reasonable person would have gone home. I didn't. The second man appeared about 10 minutes later. We talked for a while. He bought me another drink, joked around with me. I nodded along to everything, like that night had no consequences. I wasn't thinking about my husband. Not because I hated him or wanted to hurt him. He simply didn't exist in that moment. I remember perfectly the moment I should have stopped. It was very clear. He checked the time and said the place was getting too crowded. He asked if I wanted to go somewhere quieter so we could keep talking. He didn't insist. He didn't pressure me. He just said it and waited. And I said yes. We walked down a side hallway almost nobody used. The music faded with every step, and the silence started taking over. I remember thinking something very specific: I can still turn back. But I didn't. We walked into a more secluded area, dimly lit by soft lights. The atmosphere felt different. There was a large couch, and I sat across from him while we kept talking. The strange thing was that we talked about completely normal things: work, travel, random stories that didn't really matter. It was an ordinary conversation, but for me there was something exciting about it. Nobody there knew who I really was. In that space, I wasn't a wife. I had no history. No routine. I was just a woman having a good night. And that feeling was what finally pushed me over the edge. I was repeating something I had sworn, just 10 minutes earlier, would never happen again. While it was happening, part of my mind watched everything from a distance, like I was seeing someone else make decisions for me. When I walked out of that secluded area, I took a deep breath. The cold air in the hallway snapped me back to reality for a moment. For the first time in hours, I thought about my home. I thought about the kitchen, the silence of the early morning, my husband asleep without knowing anything. And even then, I still didn't leave. I went back to the music, the lights, and my friends. One of them looked at me and raised her eyebrows. She didn't ask a single question. She just smiled. That smile felt almost like silent approval, and I think that was the moment I fully convinced myself that everything happening belonged only to that night. The third time I cheated was the strangest one. It wasn't because of the alcohol. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was sitting with my friend, exhausted from the music and noise. At one point I went to the bar to order another drink, and that's when I saw him. He was alone. Well-dressed. Calm. Like he wasn't in a hurry for anything. He looked at me, then walked over and started talking to me. It wasn't direct flirting. It was more subtle, more gentlemanlike. He asked me my name, what I did for work, and whether I was celebrating something. He spoke with confidence. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, and somehow that made him even more impressive. He had the kind of attitude that suggested he had money, but without showing it off. Within minutes, I was talking to him like we had known each other for years. My friend walked over and joined the conversation. The three of us started laughing, and the mood became fun and effortless. Then he said, almost as casually as if it were the most natural thing in the world, "If you want to keep the night going, come over to my place. You'll have a good time." Then he added, "Both of you can come." I don't know why that made me smile. Like it was completely normal. Like it was just the next part of the night. I looked at my friend. She hesitated for a few seconds, then agreed. So did I. He drove us there. The ride was short and quiet. We weren't talking much anymore. I felt that mix of nerves and anticipation, but I stayed silent. The apartment was large and perfectly organized. He offered us something to drink. It was just the three of us there. Nobody else. At first, we stayed in the living room. Then he slowly started getting closer to us. There was no pressure, no insistence. It just happened. And I didn't stop it. I knew exactly what it meant, and still, I never said no. Once again, I betrayed my husband. We stayed there for almost 2 hours. When I looked at the clock, it was nearly 6 in the morning. The sky was already starting to brighten. That's when reality finally hit me. I told my friend it was time to leave. We said goodbye and walked out. The two of us were smiling, as if nothing had happened. Eventually, we each went back home. I quietly walked into the bedroom. My husband was still asleep. I laid down beside him and wrapped my arms around him. He didn't suspect a thing. He didn't open his eyes. He didn't ask why I came home so late, or why my perfume smelled different. He just kept sleeping. While he rested there, trusting me completely, I had just spent the entire night betraying him over and over again. My husband never found out what happened that night.